All right, we're live. Hey everyone, I'm a software engineer. I've been working in the industry for the last 8 years doing full stack development, and recently, for the last month or so, I've been learning game development. Over the last several years, I've dabbled a bit here and there, but never sat down for an extended period of time to learn more. And so, yeah, for the last month, I've been streaming my game dev learning journey, and I've built myself a little game playground that I can test out different features, built out different systems and mechanics for a potential game that I want to create in the future. And really, I've done that just in service of learning Godot, learning game development, and expanding the things that I know. So as I do in every stream, I start out by showing what I've built so far. Spent some time over the last few weeks building out different UI elements. A main menu here, you can continue the game, start a new game, load a game. There are different saves that you can load and delete and whatnot. If we start a new game here, you can see it's a top-down view of a player. You see some polygons, circles, triangles, other circles moving around over, in the top left, for example. You can control with WASD. The character looks wherever your mouse is looking. And there's some different things to explain here. So it's the basic premise of the game is when your flashlight is on, you can see different zombies. And when your flashlight is off, you can't see any enemies. And I have debug values turned on right now, so you can kind of see, it's easier to test with this. But basically, you can go into your inventory, equip a weapon and some ammo, and then shoot the zombie. When the zombie dies, you can hover over it. The zombie will have different random elements in its inventory, which I haven't built out yet, but that's something that I'll be adding at some point soon. Like you saw there, you can drag and drop different items, equip different weapons, and there's some different kind of smaller features that I've built out. There's a thing I call Sixth Sense, which is this yellow dot here, which basically shows you which zombie is closest to you at any given time. So if we were to turn off the debug values, because I think it's a little bit easier to understand kind of what's happening here, you're pretty much in darkness. You don't know what's happening around you. And so because there's no sound in the game, I haven't built any sound design in. If you're just kind of walking around, you have no idea what's going on. Obviously, you could have your flashlight on, but that means you kind of have to be spinning to see where different enemies are. So I've built this system into the game called Sixth Sense, which allows you to kind of understand where zombies are coming from you. Obviously, in real life or even in a game setting, there should be a way to kind of know when zombies are getting close, even if you can't hear them. You would just kind of have a sense that they were coming to you. So that's what I've built into the game there. I've built out a save system. That's what I've been working on most recently, and I think myself to a pretty good spot here. So when you save, exit, and reload, we should be storing dead zombie information. All your inventory should be exactly the same, etc., etc. Just different stats about the player should all be exactly the same. I've also built out a chunking system. So if I zoom out here, you can kind of see it's a 3x3 grid around the player that loads and unloads different elements. So in this case, mostly zombie data. I do actually wonder, I haven't tested going outside the range of a dead zombie. Is it going to despawn and then spawn back in, or does it just stay there? I think it should despawn. Yeah, it does. Okay, when I come back, and it's still there. Okay, perfect. So it's working as intended. You can see some artifacting as chunks are loading in and out with some zombies. So I need, obviously, to work a little bit on that. But yeah, that's kind of the basic premise of the game so far, and I want to add a little more variety. That's the next thing that I want to do here. So I would like to add some foliage, maybe some trees, start adding little buildings that are programmatically placed onto different chunks that maybe at the beginning just kind of operate as chests, and then from there kind of expand it to be a little more, maybe you can go inside the houses and do different things and whatnot. But just kind of want to get some variety in the game world, because right now it's pretty boring. So I want to work, a little bit more on making it look slightly nicer. And we have a crash, which I assume I ran into a zombie there. I'm not handling the death state very well yet. Hey Shadow, how's it going? It's been a few days since I've streamed, and it feels good to be back on the streaming side of things. All right, so we want to add some foliage, which means we need to have some kind of sprite that we want to act as that. So I think what we'll do is basically use pre-existing elements. I don't really want to go about designing different stuff. There's no point. So we'll start with just some like foliage game assets and see what pops up here. itch.io's usually pretty good about having assets. We're not going to, use this in anything, so it doesn't need to be, we don't want it to be paid. We just want free. And ideally, we want it to be top down as well. So a lot of 2D assets that we see are kind of like a side view. We really want it to just be completely top down. So let me see if I can find anything. Thanks, Shadow. Yeah, it feels good. I was traveling a bit this weekend and just had stuff to do. But after a few days of a bit of a break, it feels good to be back. All right, let's look for, okay, foliage. Is there a way to styles? So we definitely want, obviously, 2D. Don't want isometric. I mean, this might work, something like this. Maybe get a little bit bigger. It's more of a Stardew. This looks like the Stardew Valley, like literally just a rip off of Stardew Valley. That's funny. And it's free? Wow. All right, we want free. Top down. Okay, not like we want top down. What is that called? Let's actually make it less restrictive here. Okay, let's try the top down tag. So what I mean by like top down, because if you think of Stardew Valley, it's kind of like a sideways looking view. This is like you're looking straight down on the player. That's kind of the vibe that I want to stick with for now. And if this doesn't work, then I can just go ahead and, go into Assaprite and make a very simple kind of couple foliage assets, but I'd really rather not need to do that if I don't have to. So, okay. There's actually fewer foliage assets on itch.io than I would have expected. Okay, let's try trees. And let's select 2D. I'm surprised there's nothing that's just top down. So, with that being the case, let's open up Steam here. Yeah, it should be relatively simple to create some just basic looking stuff. I'm trying to open up Steam here. There we go. Okay. Should have it downloaded already. small update. How are the audio levels? Is my voice in the music okay? All right, so we're booting this up. All right, so we're just gonna do a very simple pixel art because who cares what the art style looks like right now. 64 by 64 is probably fine. RGBA should be good. Let's open this up. Zoom on in. We're just gonna do some quick and dirty drawing here. And the idea here is that you're looking like top down on a tree. Cool. Thanks, Shadow. Audio is good. Let's do a fill paint bucket. Let's see. Maybe a little bit of, whoops. Let's go back to the draw tool. Maybe a little bit of accenting. Even doing some kind of outline here might be kind of nice. Can make this very, very basic here. Does not need to look pretty by any means. Cool, and let's get this filled in. Here, so back to this color, paint bucket, fill it in, there, and I think that should be good enough. Let's go ahead and save this. Let's call it top down tree, and then we will export it as a PNG. Think to the same folder, which now I need to find that again. There it is. Okay. And top down tree.png. So we can come into Godot. We have an assets folder, and we will just drag in top down tree. So we can see it shows up here. Very straightforward. So let's create a new scene. Let's rename it to top down tree. Let's go ahead and save it as top down tree. And we can change the type to a sprite. We don't really care too much about the structure of this. I don't think it's going to have any like masking or anything. It's really just for some variation in the landscape. So we don't care too much about it having like a character, like any kind of body physics type stuff. Let's go ahead and drag the top down tree onto the texture. Open up the box here. So that looks pretty good. Probably a few things I could fix here, but you know, we'll deal with that for now. It actually looks kind of interesting. I'm worried though, I'm realizing that it's gonna blend in with the background. No, there should be enough variation there. Okay, so we got the top down tree. So let's come into our chunk. So we want to do a couple things. When we're first creating a chunk, we want to randomize tree placement and we don't want it to happen too often, so we need to come up with a small algorithm for that. And then we also need to add this to our save system. So as a chunk is loaded back in, it can load the trees in the same spots that they were in previously. So let's add a to-do. Add tree loading. To-do. Populate trees for the first time. And in handle saving chunk, we will to do save tree info. We can remove these. Yeah, okay, that should be good. All right, so let's add the algorithm for populating the trees to start. So let's maybe call this populate foliage. And then we can create a function called populate foliage. It's not going to take anything. It'll return void. So we want a global object called foliage. And because there aren't any attributes of a piece of foliage, all we really care about is the location of that foliage. So when we're doing chunk loading and unloading, so saving and loading, we can just focus on storing the global positions of the foliage, or even just the relative positions. But we don't need like a, separate construct for that. Especially because foliage is just a single element at the moment. If we were loading in, trees and bushes and flowers and whatnot, we'd have to have a way to differentiate between all of those. But for now, since it's just one thing, we don't need to. So we could say top down tree scene equals preload top down tree. So in populate foliage, we can say so we have some stuff about max number of zombies, min number of zombies. Let's just say foliage variance, and we'll actually let's quickly see how we're where we're populating zombies. Okay, so we're just getting a random X and Y from the length and then putting the zombie there. So we can probably do the same thing here. So we'll do the same thing. So we'll say max number of foliage and min number of foliage. We'll make this bigger than zombies, so we'll just say like 5 to 10, and we'll see how this works out. So let's go to populate zombies. We'll pretty much do the same thing. So it turns an array for no reason, looks like. Fascinating. I must be doing some... Huh. Yeah, I must be doing some... Oh, chunk manager, UI to zombie. Okay, all right. So that's fine. Am I actually even using this zombies object here at all? I am. Okay, so this must all be handled in the chunk manager. We don't need to do that here. So I think it's safe to say this is gonna be pretty similar, so I'll just copy it for the moment. Okay, so number of foliage is min and max number of foliage. So in range number of foliage, we'll get the random X and the random Y. We'll create a piece of foliage. So we'll say top-down tree scene.instance. We'll say foliage.position. Actually, we will call this for now just tree.position. Don't need to add it to the chunk. And we can then say, because it's not moving around, so we don't have to keep track of it, you know, loading into a different chunk. So we can say foliage. I guess, we can just give it the index equals tree. So this way, as we're loading and unloading, we can just load it based on that. Actually, we need more information than that. We don't actually care about the tree itself. We only care about the X and Y. So we can store a vector 2. So we'll just store tree.position should be fine. And then we'll say on the chunk. So actually, let's open up chunk real quick, because we have a zombies node that we add all the zombies to, I think. We want a foliage node. I don't know if it needs to be a node 2D. Actually, probably should just be... let's leave it as that for now. So we'll say foliage. And so we'll add it to this node. So we'll get onReady var foliage node is foliage. And then we'll say foliage node dot add child tree. Cool. And we'll call this create foliage, actually. So then if we go to this, we need to change this to create foliage. Okay, so now we need to add a function for saving this foliage. So we'll go to handle saving chunk. And here, we will, this can be part of the main chunk config file. So let me just, where am I doing this? Zombie data. Okay, so it's this here actually. So we want to do the tree stuff earlier so that we can save it into I actually don't know if I'm saving this or I must be. Okay, so save tree info for E in foliage. Tree equals foliage dot get key. If tree does not equal null, we will say, so these are just the vector 2s. So we can actually just store, we'll say foliage vector array. And this will store the vector 2s. So we can just say free vector actually. And if does not equal null, then foliage vector array dot push back tree vector. And then we can say config file dot set value of foliage, and so that's the section, this is the header, or the key I should say, and we'll store foliage vector array. So that should work. And then let's come in here and add tree loading. So we'll say we have a create foliage. We'll also have a load foliage. Turns void. So we want to we have the config file that we loaded in. So we want the load foliage to take in a config file, which is config file. And we will say we need to get it. And just as a reminder, how do I get a particular thing? So it's config file. Oh, get value. Okay. So it's like this, load foliage. So we'll say foliage vector array, array equals foliage and foliage. Ideally, I'd have a const for this, but I'm not gonna worry about it too much. The default is let's say the default is just null. So assert that, let's see, let's actually have load foliage return a boolean. I don't really want to assert that that this should exist, because then it breaks backwards compatibility, which is fine, but it's kind of annoying needing to worry about that. So let's just say if foliage vector array equals null, let's return false, and then we'll have foliage loaded in, and then it'll subsequently get saved. So on old save files, we should be able to still get foliage. So otherwise we'll return true. So for tree in foliage vector array, I think this should be the element itself. I don't think it's an index. Pretty sure. So we'll say sorry, we'll say for vector or tree vector. So we can say tree, relax, equals top down tree scene dot instantiate tree dot position equals tree vector, and we can assert that tree. Can we say that tree vector is vector 2? Let's give it a try. Hey Leo. Hey Philippus. How are you guys? Feels good to be back. I haven't streamed for a few days. I'm doing well. I was traveling a bit this weekend, so I didn't get to stream, but it feels good to be back. Game's going well. I'm adding some foliage to the chunks just to give a little variety to the background, and then after that, I think I'm gonna add like chests and like buildings or something. Yeah, everything's going well. Everything is great. Just hanging out, having fun. All right, what's config file? I don't know why I keep doing config file as camel case and not snake case. It's just like a JavaScript thing. But we'll add this to foliage and we'll say our count equals 0. Say count plus plus equals tree. Maybe you can't do that. Count plus plus. You can't do that at all, I guess. Okay, count plus equals 1. So we've added the foliage. Yeah, let me get this coded real quick. It'll take like less than 5 minutes, I think. I think it'll only be a couple minutes. I'm just adding the loading logic for foliage from a save file. Okay, so that, and then we need to say foliage node dot add child tree. I think that should work. And then as we load in foliage, we're not calling this yet, so we'll go into loaded foliage equals self.load foliage with config file. If not loaded foliage, then we want to create foliage. I think that should be good. So let's give this a go. So this should technically work for old save files too. So if we continue, that was a weird artifacting there. Okay, so there does seem like some foliage is being loaded, but behind the tile map. So let's get that fixed real quick. Okay, what have I done for the zombies to fix this? Maybe I wonder if I added ordering. Z index 0, Z is relative. Okay, do I need to do that for foliage 2? Top down tree. Z index 0, Z is relative. Maybe it also needs to happen for, let's open up the chunk again. Did I do something here? No. Okay, let's look at the zombies then. So, done nothing there. Yeah, we've got some. Let's see if whoops. Just lost the game. Okay, load foliage assertion failed. Got a bug. Where did I add an assertion? Assert that it's a vector 2. Interesting. Tree vector must be vector 2. Actually, let's close that. Okay, so I did something weird to the save file. Maybe when I oops, why isn't this working? Okay, hold on. Uh-oh. I messed up my keyboard. It is GD script. So it's neither Python nor JavaScript. Godot is a game engine, and with it comes its own language that's very similar to Python. It's kind of a mix between Python and JavaScript, but more closely aligned with Python with more typing or strict typing. And yeah, looks like Python, but it's not Python. Yeah. So let's zoom out here. So yeah, we're not seeing any of the... So we see the trees are there, but they're behind. Let's... If I save and boot this up again... Okay, so it's not a vector 2, which means we're not storing the right thing. So let's... Come on, open up. What are you doing? I don't remember which save this is, actually. Let's go in here. So it's going to be 8.6. 8.6, E59. Chunks. It should just be this base chunk 0, 0. So foliage is empty. Why is foliage empty? So as we save foliage, so foliage vector array seems to be empty if tree vector does not equal null. Foliage.get key. So clearly this isn't working. Let's print out tree vector and then print tree vector. Sure, I'm just accessing something incorrectly here. Okay, let's start a new game. Should allow us to see this printed out. Okay, so we do have a vector 2. Maybe then we're saving incorrectly. This is a new save. I think it might have been the CC404 one. Thanks. I mean, really the only thing that's keeping me... Leo Briggs says, I can't believe you're still building this game. I personally would have given up after 3 days if it wasn't ready by then. Incredible patience. If it wasn't for streaming, I definitely would not be here. Okay, so... I would have also stopped, but it's... streaming has really been helpful in keeping my focus. All right, so foliage is working. It's saving properly. Now, maybe it's not working when I... How do I get back to the game? Whoops. Maybe it's not working when I hit save. So let's close this. Oops, did I seriously quit out of that? Okay. Let's go back to the saves here. Saves. CC 404 chunks. Let's open up 0, 0. So maybe when I, nope, that seems to be working. Interesting. Okay, let's exit. Come back here. Okay, so that seemed to work. What if I save again? Is this when it's deleting? Or maybe there is an issue with... okay, so that's an issue. So we're not... Are we really saving it in multiple places? Hold on. Handle saving chunk. Push back tree vector, foliage. Oh, okay, so when we're loading it back in, we are not, so load foliage. We're passing in the tree itself, not the tree dot position. So that's one issue. And then I think theoretically that should be okay. So we might just, there might be some, there's some reason it's not loading in when it's an old save. So let's just not worry too much about that. Come into load game. We're going to delete everything and start fresh. Could have done this in Finder a little bit faster, but that's okay. Okay, starting a new game here. Let's get rid of this zombie. Actually, they're all going to be following me now because I shot. Okay, so we can see that the trees are loading in behind the tile map. We knew that already. Let's go ahead and save. We load this back up again. It should work. Great. So as expected, that one is at least still in the same spot. So we just need to find a way to put the tree on top of the tile map. And one way to do that is to rearrange the location of the tree. Why can't I make this bigger or smaller? There we go. Rearrange where the foliage node is, though theoretically, and let's try it. It's saying Z index is 1. Does this fix it? Oh, it does. Okay. All right. So, oh, and the player even goes behind it, which is kind of cool. They need to be much larger, so we'll go ahead and do that. But now you can see kind of foliage sprinkled about and not really affected by the flashlight, but that's okay. We could add shadows to it, but we're not going to worry too much about that right now. I guess one other piece of information that we could store, save is just like the direction the zombie was moving in, and like if it was moving to a specific point, because I have the feature set for when you shoot a weapon, it triggers all the zombies to move towards that point within a certain distance, but not gonna worry too much about that right this moment. Okay, so we wanted a demo. So as you can see, I don't know when you were last here. Was it Leo or Philippos? Leo wanted the demo. I'm not sure when you last tuned in, but we've added some stuff recently. I don't know if you saw the inventory work I've done with drag and drop, but we got that. We added a couple weapons, so we have a delineation between ranged weapons and melee weapons. If I go back to a zombie, we have a dual inventory menu where you can drag and drop, move things around in between inventories. I added a system called Sixth Sense, which is this yellow dot here. So when you have your flashlight off, you can have a little bit of a sense of where the closest zombie is to you. This is useful because I don't have any sound design in the game, so it's hard to know. Hey, Copy, I'm doing well. How are you? I'm just giving a demo of the game right now. So I added Sixth Sense, which allows you to just kind of see where the closest zombie is to you. I also added weapon delays and cooldowns. We gotta look at that. A bug in the flesh. Weapon delay, so when you shoot... Oh, that's not working. Why is weapon delay not working anymore? So this green dot is supposed to go, that's weird. It's supposed to turn red when you are allowed to, oh, okay. So it's working for swords. It's not working for ranged weapons. So melee weapons seem okay, but ranged weapons are not okay. All right, so that's interesting. Let's go ahead and fix that. Oh, now it's working again. There must be some other bug. So I did the weapon delay as well as a UI element for that. And then over the last several streams, so like the last week, I've been working a lot on the save system. So you can quit the game, like save, quit. If you load back in, all the dead zombies are in the same spot with their inventories preserved as well as your own inventory. Obviously, just added the foliage and the trees here. Although this is pretty sparse up here. Why is that? Huh. This chunk almost seems to have no foliage. Maybe it's just on the edges or something? That's really strange. I must have run into a zombie there. Let's try loading this again though, because, okay. So it takes us back to the old spot. Great, so that's pretty much everything I've built recently, and obviously added the foliage. But yeah, hey copy. I'm doing well. I haven't streamed for a few days and it feels good to be back. All right, let's go ahead and commit this. Added basic foliage. And we did say we were gonna fix this, well, not really fix it, nothing's broken. We're just gonna make the trees a little bit bigger. So let's go ahead and do that. And we'll recenter it. Oops, position. Let's get you back to 0, great. So if we come back into the game, should see everything a little bit bigger. Let's make it even a little larger than that. All right, beautiful. So we have a bunch of cookies that you can walk under. Just kidding. Yeah, all right. So we got that working. Next, I said we were gonna add chests. So this should act exactly the same as a zombie inventory. When it's dead, you should just be able to open up your inventory in the same way, have a dual inventory menu. We created a generic inventory, so now all we need to do is hook that into a sprite of a chest and then add it to the save system. So within chunk, you have a static location for that chest, and then it's got some random goodies in it, and we can say, you know, there's an X% chance that a chest appears. And I think once we do that, we'll have enough going here to add some, maybe add like health to the player so you don't die in one hit. Add some items to like regain health and whatnot. But yeah, let's go back to itch.io and then look for just like chest, and then do the same thing with 2D. And this this probably doesn't need to be exactly top down. The side view is probably fine because I don't want to worry too much about it. I also don't care about it opening or closing. This is probably fine. Just gonna say, oops, not 20, 0. Let's download it. If I can, no thanks, just take me to the download. Oh, it gives us the sprite files, which is nice, but we don't really care. So let's go ahead and start our download. We will add this to, I guess I can deal with the Godot sprite sheet stuff. Shouldn't be too bad. We added chests all. Where did that get moved to? Here it is. It's added to assets. So let's go ahead and create a new scene. I gotta have so many scenes open here. Copy says, am I working on a game? You've been following this for a week now. Winky face. Thanks for posting in both YouTube and Twitch. Yeah, I'm building just like a game playground. So it basically allows me to test different features that I might want to add to a game if I build out a full-fledged one in the future. And yeah, so it's, you know, it's not going to end up being a game, but I'm just adding different systems and mechanics and things to like get a better sense of how all that would work together and just teach myself game development in the process. I've used the Godot engine now for, you know, probably like a couple months of dev time overall over the last several years. And obviously been doing a lot more of that over the last month as I've been streaming. So let's call this chest. We will change this to, oops, change it to a sprite. Actually, we're gonna add more stuff to this. So let's add a child sprite 2D. We can just call this sprite. And we will add the chest texture here. Obviously that's not gonna look great, so we do want to come into the, let's see, how do I do this? So there's, okay, so great, so it's 3 H frames, 1 B frame. Let's do frame. That one looks, actually I don't like that one. Okay, I like that one. That one looks good. Let's call this chest. By the way, do I host any websites? No, I don't at the moment. I have a personal website, but I don't really update it. It just has like my resume and stuff on it. Okay. So let's attach a script here. Just call it chest is fine. It extends node to D. So I'm thinking, do we want to create I don't think we have any reason to create a generic like static inventory class. I think everything here, if we ever decide to add more things like a chest, then we can go and make it generic, but for now let's not worry too much about that. So we're gonna have inventory, which is inventory.new. We'll have a getter, which returns inventory, and we'll also have a setter where inventory equals I. So we need a few things. We need a way to randomize inventory. So we might want to add that as a function of a generic inventory, just as you're loading in a new inventory. Add the ability to like randomly add items to it. We want to obviously, well, okay, we'll say each chest has a unique ID. We have a function for this, at least on zombies. Game manager generate unique ID. So we'll do the same for a chest here. So we'll just call this unique ID, and we'll have a getter and a setter. So this allows us to just set the unique ID if we're loading it in from a save. Anything else here? No, that should be fine. So if I go into dual inventory UI real quick, let's see, it's saying zombie inventory. Okay, so we are going to want to change this to not necessarily be related to a hovered zombie. Could also be a hovered zombie. Okay, set hovered zombie. So we'll deal with this in a little bit, but we don't necessarily want it to be only related to a zombie. It can be any kind of NPC that has an inventory that we want to open up our dual inventory menu with. Okay, randomize inventory, save inventory, but really that should be very basic, and we'll have a way to load the inventory. This is gonna be almost exactly the same as like zombies NPC save here, where we're basically doing this for kind of inanimate objects, but really it doesn't need to be generic right now because we don't have more things to do this with. So let's add first dislike for Godot. You don't like Godot? Save chest, we'll just call it. It's gonna return void. Populate chest. We'll return a chest, so we'll call this class name chest. Say chest equals chest dot instantiate return chest. Oh, can we do self dot instantiate? Is that a thing? No. I guess actually we can just do chest.new and then set the inventory to Okay, so this should be fine. So save chest, populate chest. We'll have a function for randomize inventory, which will return void, because we can just do it on okay, and then we'll have initialize, which will call self.randomize inventory. So actually, hey Joe, how's it going? Giggles, why don't you like Godot? What's wrong with it? Okay, so we don't want to necessarily randomize inventory here. We can say maybe load from save. So if load from save, then we'll do self dot what am I trying to do here? I don't know that we actually need populate chest. But here, so handle loading from save file. And then otherwise, if we're not loading from a save, then we want to randomize the inventory. Okay, so let's go to NPC save real quick. The way we get the save path is basically like this. So let's go delete all these things. So let's get the chest save path, where we pass in an ID, which we don't actually need to do because we have self.unique ID. We can say chests, so that also means in save manager we need to create this path. All right. So saving should be straightforward here because we're just, so inventory save. What are we doing here? Okay, so I think this entire thing can handle the save. So we'll say config file, base Vim controls. Yeah, Vim's the only way to go. Vim is the only way to go. So config file.new. Is this VS Code? Yeah, it's VS Code, but it's connected to Godot, which is an open source game engine. There's a it's like a VSL language there's a language server connection between VS Code and Godot you can set up that allows you to do everything in VS Code and then have it load directly into Godot, which is really nice and convenient. Okay, so we'll do save here, self.inventory, because we've built out this this whole inventory system, which is awesome. Or inventory save system, so we don't have to keep writing the same thing over and over again if we're using the same inventory. And then we can say config file.save, and I think you pass in the path, which is self.get chest save path. Based is good. I'm not keen on the lingo nowadays. But yeah, I love Vim. Vim is 100% the way to go. Okay, I think save chest should be fine. There's not really anything that we need to do here. So we can initialize either from a save file or from new, or we just create it new. So for loading it in, we'll say config file. It's going to be very similar to this, where we say inventory save. Oh wait, that's passing in a config file, so I need to do if config file dot load self dot get chest save path does not equal null, or no, equals okay. Actually, let's assert that it equals okay. Otherwise we have an error. If loading a chest from save file, that save file should exist. So then we can say self.inventory. How am I doing this here? Self.inventory, and then we populate it from the config file. Beautiful. And I think that's all we have to do there, because by this point we should have already set the unique ID. So maybe when we're initializing, we also want to pass in the unique ID. But we don't always, not always going to be. No, Godot's not bad at all. Not bad at all. I don't know what gigas means. Some people don't like it, obviously. I mean, you're going to have people that like Unity or Unreal more than Godot, but I find that Godot has been great so far. Obviously, I've never built anything like mega complicated, but at the same time, you have people creating custom game engines for their games. So you don't even need to use any game engine. If you want to build one yourself, I wouldn't recommend it because that's a lot of work. Okay, we'll deal with randomizing the inventory soon. So here we can just say self.load chest and randomize inventory. Okay, that's good. Now let's go into chunk, and we'll do a similar thing to foliage and zombies here, where we say chest chance equals 0.1. So 1 out of every 10 chunks should have it. W live. What do you mean, creative? Okay, then we'll have I guess So that's the likelihood that a chest would spawn. So we'll say there can only be one per chunk. So we need to do similar things here to do load chest and handle if no chest exists. So that should basically do nothing. To do, oops, populate chest, and then in handle saving chunk, we can say to do handle saving chest, which should be very straightforward. I think it's literally just if self.chest does not equal null. I'm pretty sure Rockstar custom builds their own engines. I mean, they've been making games for so many decades now that, and have, you know, they've poured millions and millions of dollars into their development platform. Pretty sure they've built everything custom. Okay, if self.chest does not equal null, then we can save it. So I'm pretty sure just self.chest.savechest should work because it's all self-contained. So that should be good. We do actually, though, need to keep track of whether a chest exists in this chunk. So when we're when we say handle saving chunk, we also want to store information about the chest itself. So if let's actually do this here. Let's look at the config file. So if it's not null, we'll say, I kind of want to make this not camel case anymore, just to be consistent. So I want to say config file dot set value chest. Actually, either way, I think either way I want to do this. And the section will be actually the key. Okay, so the key for chest position, say, how do I want to do this exactly? Maybe the key doesn't need to exist, actually, if a chest doesn't exist. Do I think GTA 6 will be worth it? Probably. They'd have to really mess up to not have it be just a huge hit. They tend to know what they're doing. So yes, I think it'll be worth the wait. But I have no idea when it's actually coming out. I mean, I think they said 2025. Maybe that got pushed back to 2026. But we shall see. Okay, so if that exists, then we want to say self.chest.position is the chest position. Actually, we don't even need to store that because I think, are we saving that on the chest? Or not? So we should probably do that. So we should say config file dot set value. We'll just say metadata position, and say self dot position. Then as we're loading the chest in, self dot, we can say chest position equals config file dot get value metadata chest position, or did I just call it position? No, I just called it position. I guess let's assert that chest position is a vector 2. Just when loading chest position, it must be vector 2 and exist. Then we can say self.position equals chest position. Okay, so we don't need to store it in the chunk, which I think is fine. We can store it in the chunk, but I don't think we need to. So we'll actually say chest ID self.chest.unique ID. Is Restream sponsoring me? No. I just use Restream. Why? Is there something? Is it just like the stream description? I've never updated the descriptions for any of my streams, so that's why it says using Restream. I could probably delete that though. Okay. We're saving the chest ID if it exists. So that should be okay. And that gets saved. All right, so then as we're loading in the chest, we want to grab the chest ID equals config. And also let's update this to be snake case as well. Okay, so we'll say chest ID equals config file dot get value. And I think I said chest and chest ID. If chest ID does not equal null, then we want to create a chest equals chest.new. Say chest.unique ID equals chest ID. Then we say, actually we can say self.chest equals chest.new, self.chest.unique ID, and then self.chest.load chest. Otherwise, as we're populating chest, self.create chest. These can all be self dot. Okay, under create foliage and load foliage, we'll say create chest. Should create chest, or actually chest chance equals, what is it, math dot rand, let's do a rand float between 0 and 1 inclusive. Okay. Actually should load chest if that is less than chest chance Why are you yelling? Math. Okay, so maybe I don't need math. It's rand f. So if this is true, wait, if yeah, if that's less than just chance, which is basically saying if it's less than, I think, 0.1, so it should only happen 10% of the time. So if should load chest, we'll say self.chest equals chest dot, actually here we want to do chest scene equals preload chest. And here, when we do self.chest, that's not quite all that needs to happen. So we'll load in the chest, but then we want to say, chest, we'll say new chest. What is what? Hey, what's your word per minute rating? So funny story. When I was using, up until like 3 or 4 months ago, I was using QWERTY, which is just the standard, like mostly standard around the world, but you know, standard key layout. And when I was using QWERTY, it was like 120, 125 words per minute. 3 or 4 months ago, I switched to using Colmac, which is the 3rd most popular keyboard layout behind QWERTY and Dvorak. And so I've slowly been getting faster. I'm at like 90, 95 words per minute. And I'm also using a very tiny 42 key keyboard, which has like macros and different keybinds and stuff. And so I'm also getting used to that. So yeah, it's like 90, 95 right now. But I used to be 120, 125 pretty, you know, on average. Well, that was kind of my minimum. In small bursts, I was able to get up to like 140, but that didn't happen too often. So I've lost like 25% of my words per minute, but it also doesn't really change anything for like typing code. You can't, at least I personally can't think that fast. So I'm always typing slower than that anyway. Okay, so we'll say new chest is chest.new. New chest at unique ID. New chest.load chest. Is that right? No, actually, hold on. I don't want to do chest.new. I want chest scene.instantiate. Instantiate. So that should be okay. What was I doing with initialize, load from save, or randomize inventory? Okay, so rather than load chest here, I want to set the unique ID and then initialize with true. Load chest from save, I believe. Copy says, what kind of freaking keyboards are those? Really cool. Yeah, so there's, I can actually pull it up here and I'll send it to the chat. There's a cool guy who lives in Hong Kong who builds ergonomic mechanical keyboards, Bkeeb. And this one specifically is the Piantor Pro. Doesn't need to be with the aluminum case. I don't know why that's the, here we go. So yeah, the Piantor Pro. I use the 42 keys, key switches. I use the Red Pros, keycaps, just the blank black on this keyboard. I actually ordered another one in case this one I like spill something on it. Oh, also we just hit 30 hours of game dev over the last few weeks. And then the case, at the moment, like at the time I bought it, the honey yellow PLA was free, so it didn't there wasn't an extra $40 charge. So by all means, it's not a cheap keyboard, but I really like it. I think it's pretty cool. So let me post this in the chat. If you guys, wait, why aren't you posting? Pasting. There we go. So if you guys want to check it out, totally free to do that. Definitely not sponsored. So, but I highly recommend. I mean, if you like small ergonomic keyboards. Okay, so we'll initialize the chest if it exists. Then we also want to add it to the scene. So let's go into chunk again. And we'll add just a node 2D. We'll rename that to chest, the Z index at 1. I don't know why we have to do that, but maybe there's a better way of handling that. Let's also pull in this onReady. So we'll say onReady var chest node equals chest. And then we'll say chest node dot add child self dot chest. Great. So as we're creating a chest, we'll say should load chest. Okay. So chest scene dot instantiate self dot chest dot initialize with false, and chest node dot add child self dot chest. Okay, so that should create and load chests in. I should really be moving all of the loading into different functions, but we can worry about that later. Oh, is this part of the zombie for loop? That's not ideal. Oh, even the foliages. Ooh. Hold up. Okay, so that fixes a weird bug that I'm sure I wouldn't have noticed, but yeah, it is not cheap. It's definitely not cheap. But I've always been like super interested in keyboards. I own way too many, and so it's just part of the expense of being a software engineer, I suppose. All right. Should we give this a try? I think it should. Okay, let's actually make the likelihood of these showing up much higher. So it'll show up 9 times out of 10 chunks. And I think we can give it a try. If we zoom out, I don't see any chests. So we might not be adding it to the scene properly. Or it's showing up behind, which could be happening as well. Okay, let's see. Create chest. This is happening. Okay, at time of scene loading, and we're saving whatever chest info we need. Self.chest.save chest. And a unique ID, and this is being loaded. If chest ID does not equal null. Oh, okay, we need to start a new game because this is not going to work. So let's start a new game. Copy says, am I comfortable with that? How long have you been using it? Yeah, so I mean, like I was mentioning, my words per minute are down from like 120 to 95, and that's partially using Colmac and partially from using this keyboard. I sometimes find that it's easy to accidentally double click on the keyboard, so moving quickly doesn't always work. But I'm pretty comfortable with it. It took me a couple months, I think, to like be pretty fluid with it. But now I have like several different layers, one for numbers, one for different like actions around like changing songs and whatnot, and arrow keys. And then another layer for special characters as well. Kind of have them all over the place. So yeah, it took a couple months to get used to it. There's probably some optimizations I could make too to like make things a little better. Oh, okay, here we go. So chest spawned right on the player there. And they're very small. So there's one there. They might also be spawning behind the trees, which is kind of a fun little Easter egg. Perhaps means that you have to go searching behind trees in order to find some of the chests. I don't see... Okay, I think they're actually all loading at position 0, so I need to change the global position. Oh yeah, because they're not tied to chunks, so it's actually not position that I want to be changing. It's global position. And also when I'm saving, I want to be saving global position. So let's update this to global position. Same with loading. Global position. And if we start a new game, no, they're all still spawning there. Why? Yeah, they are spawning. They're just tiny. But also I think I have a bug where they're all just spawning at position 0. And that's happening because when I initialize the chest... Oh, I'm not... Okay. So let's go back to chunk. So when I'm creating chest... I'm not setting it to any position other than 0. So I need to do the like random vector logic that I've been using. So actually I should just have a function for this. Let's just say func get random vector 2. We'll return a vector 2. And we'll say random x and y in range get chunk length, and then return vector 2 with random random x and random y. Okay, so in create foliage, we can say random vector equals self dot get random vector 2. And we'll say it's random vector plus self dot chunk position. Okay, I think... Actually, do I want to be storing... Yeah, I think storing the chest's global position is probably fine. Okay, then we're doing the same for zombies. When they're being created. Actually, I think I can just do random x and y. wherever that's being called. Random vector equals self dot get random vector 2. All right, so random vector, great. And then when we're saying create chest, we should say random vector equals self dot get random vector 2 self dot chest dot global position equals random vector. Save the chest. Okay, start yet another new game. Okay, so we should see, yeah, tons of why are these all so close together? Probably something to do with the global positioning. So again, I think we need to do exactly what we're doing for it's so weird. The same thing we're doing for the zombies and the foliage, where we just need to add the self.chunk position to that. What I'm saving tree information though. Just saying the tree position is equal to that. Okay, handle saving chunk. So when I'm doing the tree vector, I think that must just be the position, not the global position. So let's go into chest and undo the global position changes. Oh wait, we're doing it load chest self dot position. Hold on. So, okay, creating chest, we will add, so for position, wait, loading the foliage, so position plus self dot chunk position. Then when we're loading it in, we don't need to do that again, I don't think. This maybe will work. Okay, so we see like one there, one there, one there. It's probably spawning behind some trees, but yeah, okay, so this seems to be a bit more random, which is great. So now we need a way to we need a hover state on the chest as you get close to it, and also we need to make it bigger. So let's just do that real quick. Let's make you much larger. Put you back in the center position. And if we continue the game, I think that's loading in the same spots. Now those are way too big. Yeah, I think that's basically loading in the same spot, so that's fine. Whoa. Oh, because it was being blocked by the dead zombie, the shadow. I was confused by the shadow there. Okay, so let's just, this should all work. So as we save and then boot back up, okay, so we want to be able to, in the same way we do for dead zombies, do pull up the inventory for chests. So let's actually go into, whoops, dead zombie here, because we might be able to make a reusable inventory area element here. And I think we do. So we get the inventory area by do we do anything with it? No, we don't even actually do anything with it. So we don't need that on ready. Which makes me think we can Okay. Let's create a new scene. So what is this of type area 2D? That's 2 connections. On body entered and body exited. Is that what I'm doing here? Okay, so great. Okay, so it's not too complicated. So we can say this is of type area 2D. I think this should be fine. We'll call this inventory area. We'll also save this as inventory area. We'll add a child, which is a collision shape 2D. And really, we can just copy and delete this one and paste it in here. So it should just be a circle like that. Now we need a... Do we even need a script? Actually, I don't think we need a script for this. So let's... we'll say inventory area equals preload inventory area scene. Then on ready, we want to say inventory area equals inventory area dot instantiate. And from here, we want to do 2 things. We want to connect the 2 functions. So we'll say inventory area, no, sorry, self dot connect. No, wait. Inventory area dot connect on sorry, body, I think it's body entered and body exited. So body entered with self dot on pickup area body entered. I don't know why those are called on pickup area and on inventory area. I must have changed that at some point. So connect it there, and then we'll do the same thing for exited. So body exited. I think that's what it's called, body exited. And we'll do self dot on inventory area body exited. And then we will add this to the scene as a child, which means in Dead Zombie we should be able to delete this. Okay. So pickup area body entered. Okay, so we have this function game manager.set hovered zombie. So we don't actually want this to be zombie related. I think it's only called from Dead Zombie. So we can say set hovered inventory. And then from here, rather than setting the scene, like the parent scene, we actually, I think, just want to store the inventory. So like if I is not equal null, actually let's just assert that it doesn't equal null, because we shouldn't be calling this. So assert that I is inventory and I does not equal null. When setting game manager dot set hovered inventory, inventory should not be null. So we'll say, instead of hovered zombie, this will be of type inventory. We'll say hovered inventory. Hovered inventory equals I. Do we ever set this to null? We do. Okay, so instead of game manager.set hovered zombie, we'll say set hovered inventory and pass in self.inventory. And then down here, just need to update this to inventory. Delete that print statement. Okay, so if body is player, then we can set the inventory. That's great. Oh, this inventory pop-up. So this actually, let's see. We kind of want this to be an element on inventory area. So let's actually add a script here called inventory area. Say class name inventory area, and then we'll have pop up. Let's see. Self.popup.queueFree. Okay, so we basically will say, what do I call this here? Just null. Show pop-up. And that basically is going to be this. And then we'll have a function for hide pop-up. It also returns void. And we'll do this. Copy multi said something, one sec. Hey boss, would you like to collaborate with Steve? He's the founder of TS Circuit. What's TS Circuit? And when you say collaborate, what do you mean? Set hovered inventory null, self.popup to queue free. Great, so that should work. So now instead of doing this, we can say self.inventory. Wait, am I not storing this? No, I need to store this. So instead of pop-up, we'll say inventory area is of type inventory area. Say it equals null. And we'll do self.inventory area. connect and add it as a child. And then instead of all of this, self.inventory area dot show pop up. And we can delete this. And then otherwise self dot inventory area dot hide pop up. And we also need to say if self dot inventory does not equal null. What is user and area being used for? Nothing. And let's get rid of it. So if, oops, and does not equal null. Copy. Who's Steve and what's TS circuit? Okay, show pop up, hide pop up. Great. So we've got this for wait, what is invent? Hold up. Why are you? Oh, it's got the same name already, so I'll actually do scene. So inventory area scene. I don't think we're using inventory pop-up scene anymore, so we can get rid of that. Wait, what is inventory pop-up? Did I already have a... Oh wait, no, I'm doing that in inventory area, right? Inventory pop-up scene. Yeah, okay. So we're instantiating it there and then freeing it. So when you show it, okay, great. What else? That should be working for the dead zombie now. And we want to do the same for chest. But we will first see if this works with zombies. And it doesn't seem to be hovered. Valid get index hovered zombie in pause manager. Okay, so we need, there's a couple bugs here. Copy says, can you search TS circuit on Google, please? Electronics in React. Oh, that's kind of cool. Build circuit boards using React. That's pretty neat. It's very cool, actually.
It's called TS Circuit, and you can install it with NPM. After you install it, you should have the TSCI command line utility, which you can run to play with it interactively. First, I'm going to create a new directory called MyBlinkingLED. Then I'll run TSCI init, then TSCI dev. Now I can open up my web browser and I can see a schematic and a PCB layout generated from my React code. For this project, we're going to install the battery and 555 timer components. We can add these using TSCI add. You can also see what these look like from the registry. Okay, now let's start coding. Open up VS Code and create an empty circuit. Let's import the battery and 555 timer component and then add it to our circuit. As we develop, the preview window is going to instantly update with all of our changes. Now let's add all the passive components. That's the resistors and the capacitor. And then finally
This is an interesting combination of like what I do with React and then electrical engineering. I'm curious because like my dad's a hardware engineer, electrical engineer, and he makes, he's been building circuit boards and doing this kind of stuff throughout his career. I'm curious if like what the overlap is of engineers who know how to use React and then also want to do like PCB creation and schematics. I feel like the overlap isn't super high, but how many stars does this have? Almost 500 stars. Yeah, I'm just curious what the like how much this is actually going to be used, because you have to understand how React works, and so many electrical engineers already use their particular software to do what they need to do. I mean, this might be a new paradigm for electrical engineering, and it might only be for like surface level stuff. You might not be able to do super complicated things. Like Apple might not, would probably never use this for their own stuff, but I don't know, maybe
We can connect all of our
some
components
startups would
together
use
with
it or
traces.
something.
Traces can use something like a CSS selector and automatically figure out how to route themselves. You can hover over ports to figure out what selector is available for that component. We've created our schematic, so now let's get the PCB working. Each component has a footprint, which is the physical copper pad it rests on the PCB board. We can specify the footprint with a string using standard terminology like SSOP16 or 0402, but we can also import or specify our pads manually. Here I'm importing a classic axial footprint. After we've settled on the footprint, we need to position the component, which you can do with auto layout, or more simply, by just specifying the X and Y position on the board. When you're all done, you can go to File, Export Bill of Materials, and Godot.
It'd be kind of nice if there's a way to add your elements onto, wherever you want on your board and then drag, rather than needing to specify like X and Y, but maybe I don't fully understand what because he was saying it automatically comes up with the green lines, but it's interesting. That's pretty cool. Thanks for showing me that copy. Do you know him, or like what made you bring that up and ask if I wanted to collaborate with him? Okay, where was I? All right, we've got inventory area, adding it as a child. All right, we've got a bug because it's not actually popping up, so we're probably not properly connecting. Inventory area, connect, body entered, body exited. So let's see if these are even being triggered. Inventory area triggered. Body exited triggered. Okay, so it's not triggering, which means that maybe the area itself is really small, though I would expect that oh, I don't feel like I should have to set the position, but maybe I have to say, self.inventory area dot global position equals self.global position. Maybe it's just being set somewhere else. That's not working. Okay, let's start a new, start a new game. We'll go ahead and kill a zombie. Okay, I was just trying to see if there was, okay, so this isn't connecting properly. Am I connecting this backwards? I don't think I am. Feel like this should be working. Okay, let's go to player, for example, when we're connecting. Yeah. So it should... That should be working. Okay, so I guess then we're not... Okay, it's probably then we need to say... we need to be... Okay. So we'll say... we'll rename these to on body entered and on body exited. And we'll have a signal. Emit body entered. Body is a node 2D. Or wait a second, hold on. Do I need to, what happens if I connect to these? Wait, what did I just connect? How is this? What in the world did I just do? Okay, on body entered, non body exited. Really here we just want to say signal emit body exited. I guess we can still pass in a body, but we don't really care too much. So then here we'll say self.emit body entered dot emit. We'll say body. Then we'll do the same thing for exiting. Emit body exited dot emit. So we will come in here, say body entered, connected to on body entered, and then we'll do the same for exited on body exited. So that should work. And then when we're connecting the signals here, we'll say emit body entered and emit body exited. This should fix our issue. Let's get rid of this zombie. Nope, that didn't fix the issue. Why? YouTube's hiding some of your comments on the chat board. That's weird. Like on the live? I don't know why it would do that. I mean, unless it's like thinking that you're sending me spam, but you're definitely not. Yeah, I don't really know what the protocol is here in terms of putting him in touch with me, but if you I guess, can you send messages on GitHub? Is that a thing? Can you send messages on GitHub? Removed private messaging. Okay. Maybe, here. I'll send you my GitHub if he wants to just like add me on GitHub. He's more than welcome to do so. This is me. I assume you can have like friends, so you can have followers. Yeah, if he just wants to like follow me on GitHub, that's an option. Otherwise, just tell him to pop into the stream at some point. But that should work as well. Okay, why is this not working? Also, look at that. Over 2 hours. I feel like I'm doing something really stupid. Like, just obviously dumb. Whoops. Just want output. So is weapon delay. Let me move from chunk. Okay, we're just, it's like not even registering here. Maybe the size of it is too small. Oh, let's add debug values back onto this. So collision shapes, and let's actually make the collision shape. Ooh, whoops. Let's make it a different color, but also make it bigger. Debug color, let's make it red. Okay, so it does look like the inventory area is appearing as is expected. You're welcome. You're welcome. Copy. Okay, so we can make this. Whoops. Don't wanna. Okay, it's red. So that's, oops. Still should show up. All right, so, oh, is it? No, it shouldn't be showing up behind. So we're clearly not, we're instantiating it and creating it, but then none of the connections are working. Oh, is it the... I mean, these connections should be working. There's like no reason why they're not. The only other thing I could think is that I need to dynamically create okay, so let's try this. We'll say on ready var collision shape scene equals collision shape 2D. So we'll say ready self dot sorry, we'll say collision shape 2D collision shape scene dot connect on No, it's not even the collision shape. It's actually on the inventory area. So we honestly shouldn't even need this. This shouldn't even be. It should just be body entered and body exited. Oh, but it's on the area. Yeah, it's on the area 2D. Those don't exist anymore. Oh no, they do exist. Why isn't this working? Body entered, body exited. Body entered, body exited. I mean, I'm learning more about Godot through this, but it is frustrating while we're here. There's nothing about us triggering this. Why isn't this working? Self.inventory area.connect. Self.on pickup body on pickup area body entered. Okay, inventory area scene, inventory area. Maybe it's because the... Oh. Does it need to be added as a child first and then I can connect? Because otherwise the... Maybe I say like, what is it, call deferred? Call deferred. So invalid argument. So I put the method and then string idle time. Okay. Add it to the scene and then do this. Let's see if this works. If this does work, I'm gonna be a little upset. No. Oh, actually, okay, let's see. Hold on. Output. Okay, so I guess instead of doing this dynamically, let's just add a child here called inventory area. This node has no shape? What do you mean? What do you mean it has no shape? It's got collision shape 2D. It even shows up. Okay, so we'll just add it like that. And then we'll instead say, instead of inventory area scene, we will say at onReady var inventory area scene equals inventory area. Then we don't need self.inventory area anymore. We can say inventory area scene dot connect. And then inventory area scene dot show pop-up and hide pop-up. I hope this works. I really hope this works. It seems to not be working. It's kind of unbelievable, actually. Oh, I guess in this case, okay, hold on. We can say, just say on body entered, on body exited. So we can connect this directly here. It's on body entered. And then same with exited, on body exited. Okay, let's give this a try. Invalid get index on pickup area body. Oh, okay. This. Okay. It's still not showing up. Why is it not showing up? This almost feels like it's not. It's not connecting properly. Okay, but anyway, let's just fix this bug so this stops happening. What? Okay, it's pause manager hovered zombie. What does pause manager have to do? Hovered zombie. Okay. Hovered inventory does not equal null. Okay, so debug dual inventory scene. So it's game manager dot hovered inventory. I think it should really just be hovered inventory. And then does inventory have a name on it? The generic items inventory updated. No. So we'll just say this is NPC for now. So that should work. This isn't zombie inventory. This is just NPC inventory. Valid index get. Oh, did I? Come on. Oh no. This hasn't been overwriting all my stuff this whole time. Is that why we've been seeing issues? I hope this isn't why we've been seeing issues. I mean, I'll be happy because I thought I was doing everything right, but I'll also be sad. I will also be sad. Okay, so it doesn't do anything because we're not... It's not even... It's not setting hovered inventory. Because this isn't getting triggered for some reason. And I couldn't tell you why. It's super confusing. Also, what is ammo amount? It's not being used, so we'll get rid of it. I mean, the only thing I can think is so let's change this to a node 2D. Change this to an area 2D. You'll make this a child of that. Just call, I guess we can just leave it as area 2D. Okay, so on ready, area scene equals area 2D. Actually, we can say body entered on area 2D, body entered. And again, whoops, please go, thank you. Body, please work. Okay, so we have body entered and body exited. I don't understand. Oh boy. Why? It's like putting it where my mouse was. Oh god, this is, it's doing weird stuff. Weird stuff. All right, so we're gonna go back to the approach where we had signals defined here. So we'll say signal emit body entered. Say body is a node 2D. Emit body exited. It's also a body 2D, and we'll just say self dot emit body, and then we'll do the same thing for exited. Copy, one sec. I'll get to you. Copy says, is that the Sony headset you're wearing? Oh, look, your YouTube chat's working again. Yeah, it's the Sony XM4s. Sony XM4. It's these ones. I didn't pay this. I got it Amazon Prime Day for like 200 or something, which was a pretty good deal at the time. I had the option between the XM4s and the XM5s, and I've never tried the XM5s, but I like the XM4s better, I think, because they fold up better. They're a little more contained. They fit in just this little case here. And just kind of go inside, and you can like twist them and like wear them down here. Noise canceling, they're great for, you know, all around, but also for flights, planes and stuff. Anytime you need noise canceling, they're great. Okay, so we're gonna emit these signals. So let's just try printing entered, print exited. And then we will need to go back to chest. No, sorry, that zombie. I've been working on this for way too long. Gonna get rid of this inventory area now. We'll go back to the approach we had before, which actually maybe if I go back far enough. this will work. Okay, so we're gonna try this. So we've got inventory area. Gonna create it, instantiate it, add it as a child, connect body entered and body exited. And it should be emit body entered and emit body exited. Okay, so we'll see. See if this works. Oops. Script inherits from native. Oh, okay. So we've got an issue in inventory area. Should extend node 2D. Let's try this again. Still not showing up. Why? You're welcome, copy. Yeah, I really like the XM4s. Been using them for the last couple of years. I wonder, is the like masking? Oh, did I? Oh, no. Don't tell me this is why. Hold on. How do I get back to this? How? Come on. Okay, inspector. Is the collision? No. This was why. The layers are wrong. I think it's supposed to be that. Thought I did that. I mean, I thought I copied over. There we go. Okay, it shows up now. But invalid connect over zombie in game manager. Okay. All right. So we actually then can reverse some of these changes, but let me fix this game manager issue. Hovered zombie. Oh, and dual inventory. Insert that hovered inventory. It's not equal. See you, dude. Thanks for hanging out. I appreciate it. Yeah. Thanks for hopping on, copy. Had a good time. Thanks for chatting as well. Always the simplest things that take the longest to fix. Yeah, it's usually, you know, it's like a one-line thing. Unfortunately. Unfortunately. Okay, so let's reverse some of these changes now because we don't need... I think it should all... Whoops. Can we go back to where this was here? And we've got the nodes on body entered and exited. I actually don't even think we need to connect these now. Let us not forget, though, to go back here and change the collision masks again. Okay, so that should be correct. Coming in here, I don't think we need these connected anymore because we should be able to say in dead zombie. Inventory is inventory area scene. Show pop-up and hide pop-up. I also don't think we need to add that after. And this is just going to be body entered and body exited. Let's just update these names as well. On body entered, on body exited. We can do the same thing here. This is just part of programming. Gotta get through the weird bugs. Okay, it is showing up. So covered inventory should not be null. Oh, fascinating. Game manager. Where am I asserting that this should not be null? Oh. Okay, well. We want to be able to set it to null, so that's silly. We don't want to check that. Oh, it did that thing again. Where it like unsaves my changes. Please fix that, good developers. Please, please, please. It's really annoying. Okay. Inventory should not be null. Eyes inventory. Okay, I guess I can't assert that at all. So that checks if it's, that automatically checks if it's null. Okay. So I'm not gonna do that anymore. Let's try this again. Okay, there we go. And it works. Hooray. As expected. And that took way too long to get that working. Okay, what was, I'm like, what was our goal through all of this? Right, we wanted a reusable component that we could do like this inventory area thing for not just dead zombies, but also for chests. So let's do the same thing for chest here. Let's do the exact same thing. So coming in here, we can say ready. Go ahead and pull this over as well. And say self dot, or sorry, var inventory area. Inventory area equals null. Then we need on body entered and on body exited, which I think should be exactly the same, if I'm not mistaken. Body is player, blah, 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 blah. Great. Let's give this a whirl. So now when we hover over a chest, awesome. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Now we, you know, the hover E thing is like not working anymore, but we got to the point where we can have chests, and we'll need to do some randomized inventory stuff once we have more items, but we will get there. Okay, I've been going for a little over 2.5 hours, and I'm going to end it here. Thanks for everyone that hopped on. It was a good session. Had a good time. You know, the last half hour is just part of software engineering. You got to deal with the bugs, even if they're small. Usually it's small stuff that trips you up, but I'm glad I got it resolved and fixed. Let's actually go ahead and commit this first, and then we can say our goodbyes. Added chest into added chest scene and integrated into save system and chunks. Cool. All right. Thanks everyone for hopping on. I had a good time. I hope you all did too. I will probably be on again on Wednesday. I don't think I'll be on tomorrow. But it was a good session. Had fun. Hope you all did too. And I will see you guys.